Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast is Darkest Timeline. So, I promise huge things for this episode. I'm there, I've got so much to talk about, there's so much going on. I think this is 2 episodes worth of content. This is going to take us a long time. Let's get into it, let's get stuck in, come on. And it then just ends up being an average length episode, so... yeah. Lot of weight related things, eating, exercise, different exercises, definitely not obsessing about anything. That's not a thing. Plenty of entertainment stuff. If the exercise and weight loss stuff isn't your bag, skip forward like half an hour and then listen to me talking about a load of TV shows, movies, computer games, VR, all of that stuff. So, if you're here for that and you don't want the rest, just skip forward a bit. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And the big one. You know the one we like the most. Share it around, people. Share it around. Right, let's get started. Here we go, this is CookieCast, The Darkest Timeline. Hello! How you doing? You well? I had to sneak up on myself there because I could see the time disappearing. And I was like, no. Gotta attack. Strike while the iron's hot, but that doesn't hold any relevance to this point in time. So, anyway, how you doing? You well? Are you good? Have you been good? There's a good one, isn't there? Yeah, you see what I did there? Probably need to drop some caveats. I have a feeling like last week I sat down and went, I've got nothing to talk about. And then like an hour and whatever later, I was like, there we go, nothing to talk about. This week, the list doesn't fit on one page. I would say it's a page and a half. That's not the caveat. The caveat is that, if I'm honest, I don't think it's going to be everyone's cup of tea. Very food, diet, exercise. I'm trying not to use the word obsessive anywhere in this. And then just shit tons of other stuff. A massive amount of TV. A movie, not a new movie, but a movie experience nonetheless. Discovering something super cool that 2 of my devices can do. And then a whole host of computer games. Honestly, it screams double episode, but I don't know where to split these things down. Do I just take a little bit from the week and a couple of entertainment items and do it that way, or do we just crack on and see how we get there? Get on. So what I will say here and now is, if you're not here for the exercising, for the food, for the dieting, for the things like that, I guess is kind of the way of putting it. This might not be for you because it's heavy, super heavy. If you're here for the entertainment stuff, plenty of that. Skip forward like half an hour. I feel like I was almost gonna look into getting a fanfare for this first item, but it seemed silly. So, Phase 3 has officially begun. Kind of. due to a series of different things, issues, not issues in the big sense, just like little issues here and there, muscle loss, some dizziness, and another issue, which I won't bore you with. I decided that the phase 2 probably had to come to an end. So phase 3, well and truly underway. Sort of. Couldn't dive in to feet because shortest reason is I couldn't face putting all the weight back on. By that I mean like all of that weight that goes on when when I go back to eating, you know, even for a couple of days, like I've said before, you're looking like 10 pounds minimum sometimes. Even if you tried to minimize it, it's still a lot of weight that goes back on. I just couldn't do it. So I had to slow roll it. So I found I had a conversation at some point about like a protein smoothie, it was like a peanut butter banana thing, coffee. I mean, it was ticking so many boxes, super high on the protein, etc. sort of thing. And I was like, I need to put protein back into my diet, but I don't want to start eating protein left, right, and centre. So, and it was almost like the two things came along simultaneously. So next thing, I'm like, why don't I try the protein smoothie? If you need to know, it's like banana chopped up. I'm using oat milk. I think like in American measurements, it's like 3/4 of a cup of coffee. I'm just throwing in like my cold coffee. Because you put in the coffee in and it can make it a little bit bitter, especially depending on like your peanut butter and stuff like that. I've been adding a teaspoon of honey because I've got a couple of jars of honey in the house. Long story. So, did I mention peanut butter? I said peanut butter. Did I say that was part? Like 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. And then there's a load of stuff you can do optional. You can add nuts. You can add raisins. You can add things like that, which I've sort of toyed with. I've also started chucking in some ice cubes to like foam it up, to thicken it up, which seems weird because ultimately ice blended turns to water. I'm chucking it all in a tub, and then I'm using a what's the hand blender, immersion blender, I think it's called. I'm just sticking that in and just blitzing the absolute life out of it. Reasoning there is I want it to basically be just a liquid. I just want it to be a liquid. I want no chunks, no bits, no nothing. From a psychological perspective. So, I added in the protein smoothie that we're calling it. Peanut butter, banana, coffee, honey, all of the things that are, I'm sure, super great for a diet. And I had this weird sort of weight thing where I got down nice and low on my fast. I was doing an extra day of fasting because it would have taken me to Sunday, and I'm absolutely not eating on a Sunday because, you know, Monday is the big weigh-in day. So I was like, sod it, I'll just do an extra day. So I did an 8-day fast, but also not because, and for want of a better way of putting it, I think I've had one of these smoothies nearly every day, not for 8 days, more like 5 days. On one of the days, I had a smoothie at Climbing, which is basically the same thing. I think they put protein powder in because they're like, oh, it's like 32 grams of protein. I'm like, yeah, sign me up. But honestly, holding my hands up on this one, I think I've had one like 5 out of the 8 days. So difficult to call it a fast. What was convenient was I'd already in the first like 3 or 4 days, I'd already stripped back all the weight I'd put on from eating. And then over like 5 days, and believe me, today I lost more weight this morning having gone for a run than like 2 out of the 3 last 3 days. Again, managed to get down to my lowest weight, but this is the thing. Managed to get to my lowest weight with the addition of these smoothies. So, get to today, get super low on the weight scale. And I'm like, right, so today I've eaten, but nothing like I would have done previously. It's been all corn cakes, cottage cheese, boiled egg, peanut butter, some lentil. To call them crisps is a stretch, like puffs, and some grapes. I did have a peanut butter and banana smoothie, but it was one that I actually bought at lunchtime. I have had a protein shake and a couple of other sort of, not necessarily protein drinks, but they would fall into the protein scale of things, all centered around I need protein. The muscle loss got what I would say is maybe a little bit past critical because of that whole getting stuck under a bench press situation that I had to deal with. Wasn't sure if I was going to deal with that this evening. Couple of points time, super strong, like racking them out, and then there was one set where I was like, ugh, this feels familiar. But got through it, trying to take stuff slow and steady because I'm hoping that it'll build the muscle back a little quicker with what I'm hoping is super high protein. But the interesting thing of all of this is I think there was one day where I put on 0.6 of a pound. And when I looked at the day before, I was a bit like, and it wasn't like, yes, I had the protein smoothie, but I'd had a lot of other different types of drinks that probably don't help for trying to lose weight. Like I say, you know, there's been a few milky drinks here and there, and, you know, no matter how you slice it, that protein smoothie, protein, yes. Is it 100% healthy? I mean, you know, you've got the honey, which I think I question every time I put it in, but at the same time, I'm like, well, you know, there are studies that show and all that. That's always a clever way to get around acknowledging that something might be bad. Well, you know, studies show. So, the problem I've got now is obviously I get obsessive with things. So now I'm like counting down the hours in the day until I can have the protein smoothie. I've also got to time it right. I don't want it first thing in the morning because then, you know, the high point of your day's gone. I don't want it late in the evening because then when you weigh yourself the next day, you've got the weight of the smoothie. So you need to hit it basically middle of the day. And then you've got the rest of the day to sort of work some of it off. Did I mention the word obsessive? But if at the age of 44, the exciting thing from your day is some peanut butter and some banana pulped in a jar, I mean, you know, it's not cocaine anymore. So part of me wonders what I've become, but at the same time I'm a bit like, this is supposedly the better version. The theory would be this is the better version, the version that's like health conscious, food conscious, exercise conscious, you know, do the exercise slowly to try and build the muscle back, you know, load up with protein, blah, blah, blah. So the theory is this is the better version. Also, these are what I would consider the baby steps towards... let me read you my list. I made a list. I've been threatening to do some food prep, not meal prep as in making meals, just prepping ideas for meals. So let me read you my super... Right, here we go. African peanut stew, black bean burger, tofu soup, black bean soup, Buddha bowl, marinated tofu. So I've got, I think I took a list of something like 45. Took out all the ones that sounded shit. Not necessarily shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I have 23 foods listed here. And those are the foods that I'm going to work towards trying over the next series of weeks, months, whatever you want to call it. Ultimately, there is one thing that all of those foods, all of those meals have in common, and that is they are high protein. So, yeah, I have this thing. I'm really excited to try these different sort of foods. Obviously, they're foods that I know and I like, but taking the time to cook a meal whilst also going, this is going to be super high in protein. Hopefully, it's going to taste nice and 2 birds, 1 stone kind of situation, whilst also being like, oh, but I'm scared. Because it's like, yeah, it's exciting, but just take that step, to take that first step along that path of this was always the place that it supposedly working towards, to be able to say dropped, I can't say all the way, but I can say nearly all the way. I am now well and truly into the height weight ratio and under the top end. Yes, it may be 3 pounds, but under is still under, surely. So, you know, this was drop all the weight, switch to a high protein, healthy, whatever, and focus on working out, running, climbing, lifting weights, a couple of other things that we'll go into in a minute. So this was always the plan. I think the part of me that never thought I would get here feels a little bit out of its depth, my depth. I don't know how to word that, but yeah, never thought I would be at this point. I said to my daughter the other day, I said, did you know that at this point in time, I have lost more weight than I weigh right now. Now, obviously, if you lose 10 stone and you weighed 20, that would be the same principle. But as a man, 6'2" man, weighing 10 stone, I'd probably be in some sort of hospital. So, yeah, not quite that, but still, I weigh less than the amount of weight I've lost in 10 years. So, something. Let's move away from talking about this subject to talking about a different subject, to ultimately double back and talk about the same subject again. Deviation and all that. A strange one, but one I've tried to stick to and have so far, touch wood, been able to. Climbing goals. I've been trying to have a climbing achievement every time I climb, whether it's taking just one handhold more, just one foothold more, or completing a full route that I've never been able to do before. And it's weird that it makes it easier to deal with. If you can say, right, I've got an hour or I've got 90 minutes. I have to achieve something before I leave. So there are those days where you're, 45 minutes in and you're like, shit, I can't say I've achieved anything today. It kind of drives you and pushes you on to go and get that achievement. For example, on Saturday, I've been fighting with a route that's on an overhang. So it starts fairly low, starts indented, and then it goes up and then backwards, up and then up, straight. And I could get quite far, which in itself was quite an achievement for me. But I couldn't take the last couple of moves. I couldn't finish it and stuff. Saturday is always a great day for me because I have a run beforehand, limbers me up. I think the adrenaline helps. And there was a point Saturday where I wasn't able to achieve much else. So I was like, okay, let's get this one cracked out. Let's get this one done. Couple of attempts, knew what I needed to do, stared at it for far too long, and then just went and did it, crushed it, absolutely smashed it. A couple of difficulties over the weekend because they've set quite a lot of new stuff, and a lot of the stuff that I would want to be trying and climbing and achieving is all way too difficult. I got one of the sort of medium for me difficulty ones of 4, and looked at the other 3 and went, I'm never getting those. Again, does seem to be a bit of a theme at the moment. So yes. Couple of other things I've decided to work on recently. Absolutely not because I found out that I could actually do it, and I think I talked at length previously about pull-ups. So each day I'm trying to beat my previous day's record. So today I did 11. Yesterday was 10. Ended up going to a workout area near where I live with 3 of the 4 children because they wanted to go. They were like, let's go to the workout area. Like, okay. It's in a field. And we went and they were all sort of messing around. But there are 2 separate pull-up sections. And I was like, this seems super narcissistic, ego-driven, whatever, but they're the way round that I do pull-ups. I can't do the straight bar ones forwards or backwards. But I can do the sideways bar ones. If that doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. So, yeah, try and work it through. So I need like the two handles to do pull-ups rather than one bar, if that helps. So both of them were the way that I do pull-ups. I was like, I kind of want to just check. So I ended up doing like quite a few pull-ups out in this field, and some leg raises. My daughters were wanting to know how to do leg raises, so I was showing them that. And speaking of leg raises, the other thing I've decided to put a bit more time and effort into, I'm just working through a workout for this in my head, because I already do work for this, but I want to do more work, is ab workout. Previously, I used to do abs every day because abs are the only muscle group that you can work every day because they recover that fast. Because they're your core, you're using them at all times. Even sitting down, you're using your abs. So they recover at a hell of a rate, which means you can work them every day. And I used to do that. So more recently, I've been like, well, I do abs. It's like 3-4 days a week, depending if I do certain things at climbing. I was like, maybe I should look at getting back to doing those a couple more days a week, if not every day. So, when I said obsessive, I'm going to give you an example of something that is the most typical thing you could think of. 2 weeks ago, I just wanted that bit to set in while I drank some Guinness. 2 weeks ago, I took the children for some ice cream. I took them for some gelato. I'm not sure if I mentioned part of this at the time, so if I did, then it's sort of come full circle. It's gone John Rambo up in the bitch. But if not, you'll see. So 2 weeks ago, I took the children for gelato. While we're there, I'm looking in the window, I'm looking at the menu. Something caught my eye, and it was a speculoos frappe. And I went, oh, yes, please. But still being in a certain position, I was like, well, I can't have something like that. It'll have like 500 calories in it, and that's a ridiculous thing to put in my body at this point in time. It'll have been a weekend, so I'll have been staring down the barrel of a Monday weigh-in. I was like, that's just ridiculous. I came home, I had a conversation with Leon where I was like, oh my God, they had this thing and it sounded amazing. I told her what it was. I was like, but obviously I couldn't have one. And she was like, why not? It's a drink. And you drink your calories. So how is it different to some of the other things you drink? And I was like, I did wonder. I did wonder that at the time, but I thought it was cheating, so I just didn't. Since that point in time, that speculoos frappe has been on my mind. It got to a point where I was like, I think I'm going to have to take the children for an ice cream and commit to getting the frappe. I hate saying speculoos. I just want to say Biscoff, but obviously I think the brand, whatever. Anyway, so yesterday, 2 weeks later, yesterday, I said to the kids, I was like, who wants to go and get an ice cream, a gelato? I had 2 takers absolutely straight off the bat. Then I had one who was like, I don't want one, because he thinks it makes him ill. It's a long story. And I had another one who was like, I don't want one. And that is probably a longer thing to go into than my son thinking ice cream makes him poorly. So I'm like, okay, I've got 2 takers. The whole time, you know what I'm thinking. We all know what I'm thinking. Yes, I can go get the frappe. So, next thing, I've got 3 takers. My son decides maybe ice cream doesn't make him poorly, and he wants ice cream. So away we go, and we go for a nice walk, and it's sunny, and we've got the sun cream on, we've got the sun hats on, we've got the sunglasses on, and away we go. And I'm like, yes, finally I'm going to get the speculoos, the Biscoff. I'm going to get it. I'm going to do it. We get there, we go in, everybody knows what they want. And then I tell them they're all wrong. And they all change their minds. That's not what happened. My son works on colours. He would like the green ice cream. And my answer is, no you don't, because the green ice cream is pistachio. You don't want that. You want something like chocolate or vanilla. Apparently me saying the word vanilla, my youngest daughter was like, I'll have vanilla. I'm like, of course you'll have vanilla. That makes the most sense with all of these different options in front of you. Next thing, my son's like, I want strawberry. It's like, you don't probably want strawberry. My middle daughter, the whole time's like, I want that one. She's been telling me this for like a week at this point. So I was like, okay, let's try this again. So I broke it all down for everybody. My youngest daughter stuck to her guns, my middle daughter stuck to her guns, and my son agreed to get the right one. I'm like, can I have this ice cream in a cone, this ice cream in a cup, this ice cream in a cup, and what else is on there? Let me just quickly look at the menu, knowing full well why we were all there, not for the ice cream. I was like, the speculoos frappe. Yes, I'll have one of those, please. So, they do the ice cream first, but whilst the guy went and got a lady, and the lady came and he was like, can you do the speculoos frappe? So he's doing the ice creams, gelatos. She's doing the frappe. And she says, would you like sugar in your frappe? And I went, why the fuck would I want sugar in it? It's going to have like Biscoff spread and like, I don't know, like a Biscoff in it, and it you don't put sugar in a frappe. What? And I was like, oh no, it's okay, thank you. I'm good, thanks. Just as it is. And the moment I said it, I went, hang on a minute. She wouldn't ask if I wanted sugar in it if it didn't need sugar in it. I think I've made a terrible mistake. The kids are getting the ice creams. They're one by one, they're heading out to sit in the sun and eat their gelato. And next thing, I see the lady take a jug of freshly made coffee from the coffee machine. And I'm like, oh no, something's gone wrong here. And I don't think that's a frappe. I think that's a latte. And if it's a latte, yes, I want some sugar. So eventually she's like, here you go, here's your drink. And I look at it and went, okay. So there's some whipped cream, there's a sprinkling of Biscoff on top, and a very pale liquid. And I walk out and I go, Well, let's try that. Stay positive. I can see there's like Biscoff sauce on the cup. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I take a sip and I went, that's not fine. Because that is just cold milky coffee. That's it. That's all it is. I'm like, fuck. Straight away, you know what's coming up here. It wasn't cheap. I'm like, bro, no. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I was like, hang on a minute. There's stuff on top. Maybe that's supposed to be in it. I'll give it a stir. Add another slurp. I was like, I should have asked for sugar. Shit. I was like, I can't go back and ask for sugar now, can I? I drank the Biscoff, Speculoos, whatever you want to call it, frappe, as fast as I possibly could, because I was like, this is not nice. It's not what I signed up for. It's not what I wanted. And I am so incredibly disappointed. I can't even begin to tell you. So much so that I've Googled Speculoos frappe since, got a recipe for one. I'm going to make myself one at home for a fraction of the price and be like, that's how it should have been. It was nothing like I thought it was going to be. And do you know what? Do you know what I've learned in life? That's all food and all drink. All this fasting that I've done for the last 5 or 6 months. The one thing it's taught me is not a single food or drink item tastes like you think it does. It's never as you imagine. I assure you. It's never as you imagine. I wrote something down here about the weight loss stopping. I think I've already covered that, but then there was this whole question around, like, if I was like putting protein back into my diet, whether like muscle growth had started again, and whether like I was still losing what I would refer to as like the belly fat, but gaining muscle. Muscle weighs twice as much as fat. All of that. I wrote it down, but I was like, I kind of covered it off at this point in time. Here's one for you before I wrap this bit up. As a vegetarian, how would you know you're getting enough protein? So here's my example. As a meat eater, you're there and you're like, I'm going to eat this big, fat, juicy steak and know that it's absolutely chocked full of protein. Or, as a meat eater, I'm going to take these 2 chicken breasts. I'm going to stick them in a blender with some broccoli, mince them up in a blender, and drink them down. Because, you know, that's how every single Hollywood actor that's ever gone for a muscle physique has ever done it. Who said what? Steroids? No. Don't know what you're on about. But that's the answer. That's the answer. You have your protein from your steak. You get your protein from your chicken. It's just nothing but protein. Eggs. Now, as a vegetarian, I can eat eggs. You know what's super cool about that? I used to have a dairy allergy, so I can only eat so many eggs over the course of a week. I've had 2 lots of eggs today. Probably won't be having any for a while. As a meat eater, there's just protein everywhere. As a vegetarian, how do you know you're getting enough protein? I've seen these videos and like, eat 200 grams of protein in a day as a vegetarian. Do you know something? I am so tired of the word legumes. I just cannot get my head around lentils being like a high source of protein. Because, and I'll say what I'm going to say and then I'll backtrack a bit. But lentils seem to be like the most boring food you could ever imagine. Now, a cross-section of people have just had kittens at this point in time. But what I mean is, yes, you can turn lentils into some very nice, very delicious, very tasty meals. I like lentils. I will eat lentils. Any which way you want to slice it, that's my answer. But on paper, the thought of lentils is boring as fuck. So, if you eat like this much lentils, you get the same amount of protein as you do from a ribeye steak. Yeah. Sure about that one? How would we know? Like, you can eat. My favourite is I was watching this thing about almonds. It was like almonds, highest protein nut. I was like, I already knew that. I was like, yeah, but what you don't know is that they're also not that great for you. It's like, whoa, hang on a minute. Highest protein nut. It's like, yeah, but there's a problem with this and there's a problem with that. And you don't necessarily... You'd also have to eat this, which would then equate to like 500 calories. I was like, what a waste of fucking time. Then I Googled today, like sources of fibre, vegetarian, protein, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, almonds is really good. I was like, fuck off. Shit the bed, man. Where's my bit? In fact, here it is. Here's my bit of paper. Right, here you go. This is what I do with my time now. Right. Did you know that 4 medium eggs equates to 25 grams of protein and is 240 calories? There you go. That's something. Tofu. Quite into tofu at the moment. 25 grams of protein. These are all on like 100 gram weight, I think. 25 grams of protein, 205 calories. So the tofu is beating the eggs right there. Do you see what I did there? Beating the eggs. Anyone? There you go. Lentils. 25 grams of protein is 100 grams dry lentils. But 322 calories. Cottage cheese. Now, you have to get the low-fat version. 25 grams protein. I don't know how much this is, unfortunately. I didn't get the... but it's 166 calories. Lowest so far. Obviously, if it's 100 grams... Well, I suppose it weighs... halloumi, 20 grams of protein for 100 grams, but it is 350 calories. And here we go. This is the one I had to look up this afternoon. Almonds, for 100 grams of almonds, you get 21 grams of protein, but 579 calories. I'm trying to work out like a meal. Like you want like your tofu with your eggs. There you go. Tofu and eggs would be 50 grams of protein for 245 calories. Okay. Problem you've got is you'd have to do 4 lots of that to get your 200 grams of protein. And that would be I don't know, 800, 45, 90, 980. That's not actually that bad. You could get your 200 grams of protein for 1,000-ish calories. That's mental. I've never looked at it like that before. Let's throw some lentils in there. Calories go up there. Oh no. Let's get cottage. How can we get the cottage cheese in? Oh, Andy, what do you do with your time? There you go. That's kind of the week done and dusted. But like I say, plenty more things to be going on with. I have finished season 1 of Andor. That's episode 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I watched episode 1 of season 2 this evening. As I was going through the week and watching these episodes, I've made little notes for each episode. But it's a shitload to go through. So, let's pick out the key ones. I watched episodes 5 and my note was more boring. I wasn't sold 5 episodes into a program. Episode 6, I've put actually good. Heist. I don't want to spoil it, but that was my note, let's say. Episode 7, I've written nothing. Episode 8, I've written prison. 9, 10, and 11 were all very much set around a prison planet, shall we say. Episode 11 had the I've written down ship battle, but that's not quite what it was. Probably the best part of the series. However, I'd seen it previously on a YouTube, not necessarily a short, but like a YouTube clip, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. I wonder what that's from. Oh, it's from Andor. Oh, maybe I should give that a try. Yeah, highlight of the season, if I'm honest, probably says a lot. I finished series 1 and was like, I'm not super enamored with this series. I've watched 12 episodes and gone, oh, fucking hell, bro. Watched the first episode of series 2 and like the first 10 minutes of the first episode of series 2 were better than I would say all of series 1. I'm not trying to be a dick about it. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm not trying to be whatever. I honestly think the first 10 minutes of that episode were better than the entire first series. Like I keep saying, heard nothing but good stuff, but I do question people's sanity at times like this because, gee whiz. I watched one more episode of that David Blaine thing. Do Not Attempt, I think it's called. I want to call it Don't Try This at Home. Another episode of it was episode 5 and it was more snakes. And I'm like, didn't we do this already? Did we not do this? It felt ever so slightly more tense. The snakes in question were the black mambas, but again, pretty sure they'd all had their fangs removed. Certainly to a degree. Some of them looked like they did have like almost like bumps rather than fangs, like they'd been filed is what I would say. And I don't want to be I don't want to say that that's what I think had happened. Animal cruelty, etc. But if I had to guess, gun to my head, that would probably be my guess. Me and my eldest daughter like to watch a movie on a Saturday night. It's one of those. It's a weird time because back in the days when my younger children were younger, they just went to bed, and now sort of like dribs and drabs sort of situation. Like one of them's that bit older. One of them's the age my eldest was at the time that she started staying up to watch movies. So, you know, you got to treat them as close to fair. So my middle daughter started staying up. My youngest daughter started staying up. Even my son's had a couple of late ones during the holidays and stuff. So it's a bit like I did that thing like I don't know what, like I want to call it like a dad trick, but I don't think it is a dad trick. I think it's just like a parent thing where you know full well your child's not going to sleep. You know that if you leave them, they'll be there 3 hours later rolling around and making a load of noise. So you're like, is it really going to hurt anything? You know, it's not like they're at school tomorrow because they don't go to school. So one evening I could hear him making a load of racket in his bedroom not long after going to bed, and I just sort of went in and I like beckoned him to come out, and so I came downstairs and we finished watching the movie he'd been watching. You know, for dad points, which I think I'm firmly about minus 200 million with him, because he just has just short of the 0 time for me. So my middle daughter's watching a movie in the living room. My eldest is watching, she's working through Smallville at the moment in the games room. And then we'd had this conversation. I was like, what movie are you watching this evening? She's like, I don't know, I need to look at my watch list. I was like, oh, yeah, fun. We're looking at the watch list, and all of a sudden she says something that I thought I was never going to hear. She's like, I think it's time we watch Batman. I was like, of course. Because this is a child who's basically said, I'm never going to watch Batman. She has a real being up on it. They're like, Superman's the best superhero. Batman's rubbish because he's human. And I'm like, Batman is hands down the best superhero. Don't ever say that in this house. So I asked her like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, yeah, but what movie are you watching? She's like, I think we should start Batman. I'm like, yeah, but really? She's like, no, I'm serious. I think we should watch Batman. Now then, I will caveat this by saying me and her watched The Flash a little while ago, which was a trick on my part to get her invested in the Batman movies, because I think she should watch the Batmans. Simple. I'm like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, I think we should start the Batmans. Like, cool. So 89 Batman went on. I watched the beginning with her, and then I had to go and sit with my middle daughter for a little while. And then we watched the rest together. One of those things, like it's times like that, it's moments like that are big for me. I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm a huge film fan. Put the two things together, you get a Batman movie. Batman 89 was such a significant thing for superheroes, for movies, for superhero movies. You know, there wouldn't be an Avengers movie without Batman 89. We sat and watched it. Weirdly, the irony of it is that I sat and looked at it and was like, it's a little bit more flawed than I maybe remember, even though I've seen it. I mean, if I said 50 times, I would say that was probably a massive understatement. There was a point where she was like, I guess you know all the words to this film. And I was like, this could be the film I've seen the most. So I'll shut up, shall I? We watched it, we finished it. I was like, so go on then. What did you think? She was like, it was great. I loved it. I was like, be still, my beating heart. I was like, hey, look at it this way. You've got Batman Returns next. Batman Returns has got 3 villains in it. And it's like Batman 89 on steroids. And then I remembered what comes after that and went, for fuck's sake, that means we've got to watch Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Ugh. And then we've got to watch the Nolan Batmans, which, you know. It's hard when you're like, oh, Batman Begins is a great start to a trilogy. The Dark Knight is widely regarded as one of the best films ever made, let alone the best Batman. And then you've got The Dark Knight Rises, which is a film that was made. Then I'm like, oh God, are we going to have to watch The Batman? I said to her, I was like, I own The Batman. I have seen it once. I was like, I probably should watch it again, I guess. 3 hours of my life I'm never getting back. So, this is a bit of a long-winded thing. I'll kind of probably rush through the rest. Saying that, I might not. Anyway, let's get into it. So, I got a real bee in my bonnet about AR glasses. For a long time, I've had this thing. Myself and Edward had a conversation about AR glasses. You can plug them into things. It means you've got this like giant screen in front of you. Great. This has been rumbling around in my head for a long time. Then I saw this advert. I will not mention the company, but I will say this. There was an advert like, hey, do you want some AR glasses? Which put a massive screen in front of your face and you can plug it into your Steam Deck. And I was like, yes. And I've Googled and I've shopped around and I've looked, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds is the short version for AR glasses. And I'm like, one evening I was like, why wouldn't you be able to connect your Quest headset to the Steam Deck? That seems like it would be the thing that makes the most sense and would be easy-ish. Like, would you need a USB-C to USB-C? Would you need, like, could you do it wirelessly if you're on the same network? So I Googled it, you know, Meta Quest 3, Steam Deck. And what came back, well, the answer was, this is really easy to do. Just do this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And if you do this, you'll be able to play Steam Deck on the headset on like a big screen. I was like, I'm sorry, what? So I'll have to give that a try tomorrow. It's getting late, you know, I'll give it a go tomorrow. Something I'll try tomorrow. Maybe if I get a chance, I'll have a go tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow evening, I definitely see. I mean, if it's easy, I could probably do it now. So, Steam Deck ready. Quest headset ready. I'm all ready to rock and roll. Here we go. It's like, use Steam Link to connect. Well, that makes sense. So I use Steam Link, and then I've got the Steam Deck coming through the headset. I was like, I mean, that's cool. And it was sort of the size of a really decent TV. And I was like playing games and stuff. And I was like, cool. Right. Can you make this bigger? Because I've seen stuff about like the big screen aspect. And on the bottom bar of the sort of screen that I was on, there was one of those symbols that makes it look like make screen big. And I pressed it. And the screen that I was playing computer games on became the wall in my dining room. And I went, oh my God, that's fucking awesome. And I then proceeded to play Assassin's Creed Black Flag on, what would it be, about 12 foot by about 15 foot screen through the Quest headset using the Steam Deck for like the controls. And honestly, it's the most fun I've had in quite some time. It's probably a little depressing to say. So much fun. So much fun. Next day, I'm talking to Leanne. I was like, hey, you'll never believe what I did. And I took her through it. Obviously, Leanne's not super tech savvy, so she couldn't really understand it. I was like, hey, you're playing a game on the Steam Deck at the moment. You're playing Dredge at the moment. Wouldn't you rather play it on a screen that was the size of that wall? She was like, I mean, I'd be interested to try it. I was like, cool. This evening, when you're playing Dredge, I'm going to put it on for you so you can play it on the big screen. Okay, I'm prepared to give it a go. I think she played for 90 minutes that evening and was like, yeah, that's cool. Next day I said to my youngest daughter, hey, what's your favourite game on the Steam Deck? She was like, Hole.io. I was like, what if you could play it on a massive screen? She was like, go on. So stuck the headset on her, got her going. I was like, she's never going to be able to do it. I was like, she won't be able to get her head around the fact that she's looking at the screen through the headset, but she's using the controls. About 25 seconds it took for her to be playing full-blown game through the headset. I've got a video. I keep showing people a video of her playing. I was like, this is crazy talk. My middle daughter's recently had this sort of, she likes this game that they've been playing, this whole game. So I was like, hey, why don't you try it? This was at the weekend. I was like, hey, why don't you try it? She was like, sure. Next thing, they have to take it in turns. So they're just backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Then my eldest comes in from climbing. I'm like, hey, why don't you give this a go? She's like, this is awesome. And that was it. Literally from that point, every 2 minutes, oh, Dad, can we put the headset on the Steam Deck? I'm like, yes, you can, because you should experience how fucking awesome it is wherever possible. So much fun. It was that much fun that I had to buy 11 Street Fighter games. Ask me why. Because I think fighting games would look cool, 12 by 15 feet. I bought the Street Fighter collection, which is it goes from Street Fighter 1 all the way through to all of the versions of Street Fighter 2 they released. And I bought Street Fighter 5, which seems weird, but it's a very long story. I've been playing Street Fighter games on and off the last sort of few days. Gave up on the Street Fighter collection because I went, oh yeah, I'm an old man and I can't do fighting games anymore. Street Fighter 5, what I will say is this, very playable for an old man who can't be asked to learn combos. So that's been kind of fun doing that. Obviously I've been playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That game is just a dose of... To me, it's a comfort game because it just playing it reminds me of a time where there was such a thing as a fantastic game, which seems like a lost art form these days. So I just get, it's like being wrapped in a blanket of comfort going, this is when games were good. So I've been playing a bit of that. I bought a game for like, I think it was £2. Called Road Redemption. All I'm going to say is this: Road Rash updated, kind of. It's super basic, but it's just Road Rash. I've really enjoyed it. The only issue is it's basically a roguelite, however you say that. And I don't like games like that, so I've played it, and eventually I've kind of gone, yeah, same with all of them. They all get annoying after a while. I feel like it's banging your head against a brick wall, trying to work out whether the wall's going to break or you're going to get a concussion. It's just that, roguelites. Recently saw that V Rising had some sort of weird, like, big update, and it's just taken... Like, every day I put the Steam Deck on, it wants to update. Every day I put the computer on, it wants to update. And I'm like, what is going on with this game? Like, obviously it's had this update that's either not working properly or they're just like tweaking it and fixing it and doing whatever. It did kind of make me want to play it again. So I've started a new playthrough. It makes me sad because that was a game that I had really high hopes for. I was really enjoying it, and I just reached a point where it was like, oh, it's too hard now. Cool. That's loads of fun. Thanks for that. I've wasted 30 hours of my life playing this game. And I tried to do like a variety of different modifiers for a different playthrough, and that got me so far, but almost to the same place. I'm like, cool, I've modified the game and managed to get to exactly the same point. That's fun. You know, it's that kind of thing. PlayStation wise, I've been playing Rise of Ronin still. I got a new area that wasn't a new area. It was an old area that they'd sort of redone certain bits where you had to like reclaim territory, and you had these like super battles. Honestly, the fact this game keeps evolving is mind-blowing to me. The fact that they've kept this game fresh after 100+ hours, I'm like, congratulations. Slow hand clap for this one. Exceptional work. Still fun, still enjoying, still playing. Say that about any other 100-hour game. Finally, I finished the latest version of Into the Radius 2, and I was like, the end was super anticlimactic. It just went, there are no more missions. I was like, cool, thanks for that. Honestly, it's been a bit annoying not being able to edit the saves to be able to give myself loads of money and upgrade, because I wanted to play through it again, and I was like, I'm not really prepared to accept that. So I did another Google, and obviously because it's now been out in this version for a while at this point, there are a load of mods available for it, and some of those mods give you a lot of money and a higher security level. So I started a new game, downloaded this. It said it was a mod, but it was just a save file that had a lot of money and the highest security level. A little bit of a swings and roundabouts kind of thing. It's allowed me to test out a lot of different weapons, a lot of different setups, different body armor setups, different backpack setups, different weapons. What about if I take this and this? What about if I leave that one here and take this one instead? That sort of thing. I'm dialing in the best combo for my guns and stuff. With the higher security level, it unlocked a load of missions straight off the bat that I can't access because I don't have access to the area just yet, but the game thinks I do, so it keeps doing this, oh, we're going to give you one mission you can actually complete right now, and a load of missions you can't because you don't have access to the area. So, you know, cheaters never prosper and all that. As I've said before, and it will always be my point, I have played, again, I've put nearly 100 hours into this game. If you haven't got any more content for me, then I want to make my own content. So I want to be able to test weapons that I've never fired because they're insanely expensive and there's no way to buy them in one playthrough. I want the best gear. I want the best weapons. I want the best whatever. What was the other thing I was going to say about it? Damn it, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. So, I'm doing that playthrough. I'll see how that goes. Oh no, that's what I was going to say. Apparently they're releasing it on the Quest. On the standalone Quest, they're going to release Into the Radius 2. It's still in early access. It's not finished. According to the map, there's like 4 areas missing. I'm like, you're going to release it in early access to the Quest? That's going to be interesting. I originally played Into the Radius on the Quest, and then I bought the PC version and saw what a complete different of a game, a difference of a game it was. It was so much harder on the PC. Found out later that there was, again, mods I could have got for playing that on the PC, but lives and learns. There we go. Having had many, many things to talk about, this is pretty much an average length episode. So there you go. Right. That's it. I'll catch you next time. So there you go. That's that done. It wasn't anything like what I promised. But, you know, still an episode. You know, still interesting to somebody, maybe. Never know. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Before you leave us, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button. And that way you can get in touch with us. That is it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye. And I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to this awesome Cookie Cast.